Tonight we start by welcoming our first guest, Rachel Lehr. Rachel is the Boone County Center Director for Life Centers. Rachel, let's talk about your work there, an incredible organization. What do you do at Life Centers and how are you changing lives in Boone County?
So yeah, I am the director there, so I get to help oversee not only client interactions, but also the volunteers that we have there. We have a small crew, but very faithful. So it's really awesome to just get to provide diapers and clothes and wipes and things like that to parents in need in that community, while also offering a safe place for them to come and either find out about their pregnancy and their options, and then also just to be heard and to be felt seen and known and all of that. So It's really a great experience to be able to have.
Life Centers does such amazing work and has been such a good friend with Crosswinds Counseling. But it is Crosswinds Counseling I want to mainly talk to you about because for a little while now, you have been a client. You have seen a counselor through Crosswinds. Why did you start seeing a Crosswinds counselor?
So I think mental health and the importance of that has always been something really close to my heart. I've struggled with depression for a number of years, but especially being in a position like I am at the center, like we see a lot of really hard stories, and the years just kind of pile on with that. And so there's just sometimes a lot of heaviness. And when you're dealing with your own depression and own heaviness, it's sometimes hard to take on that of others. And it's one thing to say I have to leave it at the feet of Jesus, but it's really hard to actually practically do that. So when Life Centers started offering that partnership, I jumped on board with that because I knew that having somebody to talk to and to process through things and process through the difficult things of life was something really important so that I could be able to be there for my clients and for my volunteers.
I know that step can be a big one and a difficult one for a lot of people, but it sounds like for you, you knew right away when the partnership was formed, you wanted to link up with a Crosswinds counselor. Was it a challenge at all to think of it? Was there a stumbling block or hurdle to overcome with this idea of, I'm going to actually see a counselor?
I don't think this time around I went to a counselor for the first time when I was in college, and that was a big challenge for me, just because there was a lot of misconceptions of what counseling looked like that I grew up with. It was very much a lot of, oh, well, I'm just not being a good enough Christian, and I should just read more, pray more, to get out of my depression, and not realizing, like, God put us in community, and community can also look like counseling. So back in college, it took me a while to get to there, but I've grown enough to realize that, it wasn't as big of a jump this time around. So, yeah.
And what has the experience been like? You've been seeing your counselor now for not quite a year. Tell me about that experience, these past months of being engaged with Crosswinds Counseling. How has it helped? How's it gone for you?
It's gone really well. I really appreciated it a lot to be able to meet with my counselor and to process through. It's been a rough couple of months. And so just being able to process through things going on in my own personal life, and then also it's Indiana and the winter can grow old, and
I think we all know that, yes.
Yeah, and so being able to process through things with her and having a safe place to be able to be honest and to be real and to have somebody outside of my own head to help me through those things has been a huge blessing and has really helped me get through hard things that I know God could have gotten me through, but He uses people to get us through things.
I think that's such an important point. You made it almost a couple of times here about sometimes we think being a Christian means I just need to rely on God, but relying on God often means God's going to use other people to get you through this season, and that's what it sounds like you're experiencing right now.
Yep, for sure.
That is awesome. Tell me about the impact on your work, because you said at work, Life Centers, you're dealing with stuff that is taxing, and there's a lot to it. So being present for them really is assisted by taking care of yourself. Have you seen that play out in your work?
Oh, yeah. Because there are times where, we all have things in our past and different things like that where a client might say something and it's triggering. And so if you're not working through actively healing from those things, then it's really easy to react in a way that might shut that client down or might cause her to not feel safe, just because you're not reacting to necessarily her situation, you're reacting to the trigger in your own life. But being able to realize, like, okay, I'm not reacting to her, like I don't need to put that on her. And so then later, I can go and process that out with my counselor has been really helpful, so that I can still create that safe place for her without bringing my own junk into the situation per se. So.
It feels brave to me that you're here in front of cameras, under the lights, sharing your story of going through counseling. Do you feel brave? Do you feel courageous to talk about this?
I guess maybe a little bit, but no, not. I feel like it's something that has been really dear to my heart, and I think it's something that God's really put on my heart, in the fact that just to break out of that stigma of counseling is like the last choice, or if you're absolutely like falling apart and stuff like that. Because when I started, I just knew I needed that kind of buffer, that bumper along the way. So. Just to kind of break out of that stigma, I think, is important, and just to be able to bring hope and encouragement to others, that to step out and it's not so terrifying. It's like having a friend that has training and understands how to help you process things that, you can just swim around in your head, or you can get it out and help process through it with somebody who has training for that.
And it's beautifully said, and somebody out there probably needed to hear that. So Rachel, thank you. Whether you think you're brave or not, I thank you for your bravery in sharing your story and connecting with other people around the idea of getting counseling. Thanks for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.